if you are new to the game, you repeat these cuts quite often, and then you'll weaken it enough.
Can I borrow that just for 1 second?
Sure. All right, now we get at. So this is tangent to the annual rings. And look at that. Whatever happened in there is an anomaly that came back to haunt us. Board that's not too thick. As I say, there is this triangle.
Perhaps
Your tool. 2 is the material you're working on. 3 is what you know about board.
Perhaps this is a cheeky question, but could I buy the netting needle off it after you?
Buy it. You can have it.
Thank you.
So if I get, and these things are all depending. You can make them enormous. You can make them small. If you were making weaving, you would make them much bigger.
He's doing a 4-minute needle shuttle for us.
And there are many styles of construction. The main reason I want to cut that end off is this problem here is recognizing the weakness of the cracks. There's checks in there from the previous splitters. See, like there's been packing here and there. Birch would probably be a suitable wood on account that it polishes with use. All right. Now, the pattern of needle I'm into, I take 2 fingers and I give myself a guide here. Lightly, not to compromise the strength. Or I use a pencil. Nothing wrong with that. Pencil's kicking around. So we clearly want to see. So there's one. You need a large triangle at the tip, because if you don't, like the plastic needles, the tongue goes right to the tip, but with this you'll crack. 2 more fingers. One finger, usually.
That's exactly what Grant was teaching us.
So that gives us the guidance of the. Now there's always a sequence, because if you right away, students will point the tip, and then it hurts when you support on your body. This point here, well.
I'm filming and I have 2 minutes and 42 seconds.
Well, now we start the timing.
Okay.
Really sharp part of your knife, very useful. Finger to the side, so the action is like this. And you leave 1/5, and you leave the 5/5, and you go like so. And the learner repeats that, whereas the experienced person does it in one motion. Okay, and then you flip over, and it's all in the thing of do all the same, like Henry Ford, do all the same operations. There. Then you turn it like so. And when you see daylight, you realize it's time to quit. And this space is left as narrow as possible, right here, till you start netting, because then you adjust that gap. The next part is to remove the even fifths, the 2/5 and the 4/5. And here you can wiggle and jiggle and cut till the tip comes out on the other side, if you wish. Wiggle and jiggle. Go over and follow that little immersion. And then you go to removing and delineating the tongue. Here at 45 degrees, you make a score, maybe twice if you're a learner, and you do that systematically for all. Flip it over. And then go in for end, and then pop out. So there. Flip over. So if you're in practice, then you are, you just did 2 or 3 of these yesterday, you'd just about be netting by now. Now here I go again, a little steeper, all 4 motions. Your knife tip is probably going through already. Flip over, remove. If you go straight in, you'll split the board. Over here the fibers haven't been cut fairly through, so and you tidy up the tongue. The tongue should be a little bit flexible. There should be this slope situation for the meat of your thumb to push the string through to the other side. And you don't want the tongue to be too weak or it'll tend to break. First thing to break on you. Anyway, there is sort of a certain cuts you make and then you flip over. Once you've made all the number of times you've made that. In a racing situation, you would be much faster if you weren't talking and saying what you're doing.
Just order a small burger. Single patty. A regular burger. Yeah, junior burger's a single patty. Yeah. It's a small one, isn't it? Yeah, it's a single, the junior. And you think, oh, junior.
And be careful not to notch the base of that tongue, or else that's will initiate the split. You got to cut the little fuzzies away, but you realize you make that too deep and it'll fill the. Now we point the tip, not too sharp.
Why didn't you say something? Yeah. I just wanted to see if you could do it or not.
And maybe sometimes you thin it right here to lend flexibility. Because as you push this, you got to have a little bit of spring there. You don't want anything to snag the type of string you're using, so you keep. Here's where I'm a little rusty because I should have had some pretty clean cuts right off the bat. Now the heel, and here one way to do it is just to wiggle and jiggle until you're thoroughly through. You got the tip well through there. Cut out a little triangle this way without creating the split from going up the needle. And you can cut that wood out by taking little bits and snapping it.
Have you seen our neighbor's dog there? Oh, great big dog, hair on it, like, holy cow. That's Abby and that dog are the same mother, but that dog's about this big.
Long haired, with a different fathers, right? But she's slab.
And the heel is just about done. And everybody develops their own idiosyncrasies and their own preference for the pattern. And here, for example, there.
But that's what she is. Yeah, she's fairly slim.
Anybody else want anything more to eat there?
Like she's fairly slim.
Do you have
And now comes the tip last instead of first. Long tapered, no blunt.